Hi. Okay, so the topic that we are going to go over is music theory. Within music theory, we are going to go over key signatures and exactly what a key signature is and what do we need them for as musicians. So, to start us off, my name is Javion and I'm going to be explaining to you how to determine what key you are in when listening to music. First thing that you should know is that there are major keys and there are minor keys. What also is something that you should know is there are keys with using a symbol known as a sharp, which is kind of like a hashtag or like a pound sign, so it kind of looks like this. And there's another symbol that we use known as the flat, and it's kind of in the shape of a B, a very fancy B, if you will. It's a lowercase b, very fancy. So the first thing that you should know is that when it comes to music, we only use 7 letters from A to G. And in scales, it normally repeats. So whatever letter you start on, that is the letter that you end on. So if I wanted to say, maybe I wanted to do like a C major scale, regular C scale. I start on C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 8 steps. Each scale has always 8 steps. And when it comes to scales, you have different degrees, I should say. So your first note is known as the prime or the unison. Your second note is known as the second. Third is the third. Fourth is the fourth. Pretty straightforward from here. Fifth is the fifth. Sixth is the sixth. Seventh is the seventh. And then your eighth is not an eighth. It's known as the octave, because your eighth note is the same as unison, which is your first note. Therefore, your first note, in a sense, sounds the same as your eighth note, which is known as the octave. It's just in a different pitch, or a different octave, if you will. That's kind of why it's called octave. That being said, how do you determine in a piece of music what key you are in? You're looking at music or whatever, and let's say you get sheet music, and then you see something like, let me see. All right, as we're looking here, you see something like this above. You see that there is one flat. There's only, there's nothing there. There's nothing in this one, but you see there's one sharp in that. And then you see there's 2 here, 3, so forth and so on. So the first thing that you should know is that those determine whether or not how a song is going to sound. You know, when you use a lot of major sharp keys, the song sounds very bright. Major keys in general have bright sounds to them, happy feelings in a sense, more upbeat things. But like we stated earlier with minor keys, when you hear a minor sound, it's kind of going to sound spooky. Like a lot of Halloween songs are in minor keys, and a lot of Christmas songs are in major keys. For example, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. That's in a major key. But a tricky thing is, within music, there's something that are called like relative minors. And relative minors they have the same key signature as majors, but they start on a different note, they end on a different note. So it's very tricky. But I'm here to help you figure out and make it not tricky anymore. So to start us off, like you've seen, as I've shown in my example, you have either no sharps or flats, 1 sharp, 2 sharps, or 3 sharps. As stated before, a sharp looks like a hashtag. Okay? So if I say, I don't know, maybe I have a song and it has 2 sharps in it, how would I determine what key signature that is? So there's an acronym that we use. When you're writing music and you want to use sharps or flats, there's an acronym that helps you go in order in how to place them. So when it comes to sharp keys in music, you start on F. That's the first sharp that you have when you're ever doing like music and you want to use sharp major keys. So you have F, then you have C, then you have G. The acronym for that is Father Charles Goes Down and Ends Battle. 7. Now you're probably wondering, why only 7 if in scales you have 8 notes? Well, because the 8th note, the octave, is just a repeating of the very first note. So we have 7 sharps and 7 flats. Now to determine what key you're in using sharps, you take the last note or the last sharp that you ended on and you go up a half step, which is known as an interval. So a half step would be, say for example, I have a C, just a regular C, but now I put a sharp in front of it. A C with a sharp in front of it raises it up a half step. But if I go to C and then I go to D, that's a whole step because there's a whole note in between that. So you have C to C sharp, that's a half step. Then you have C sharp to D, that's a half step as well. But if you take C to D, that's one whole step. When it comes to reading sharps and trying to determine the key signature and music using sharps, you go up a half step, and that gives you your note. And that also gives you the key that you're in. So using our acronym, Father Charles goes down and ends battle, we have two sharps in music. Father Charles, F and C. C sharp, we just discussed that. Go up a half step from C sharp, and what do you have? D. So therefore, two sharps means that we are in the key of D. Now let's say we have three sharps using our acronym that we refer to, Father Charles goes G. Now we have three sharps, F, C, and G. I wonder what key we're in. We are in A major because half step up from G sharp is just A. And remember, in music, we only use 7 letters of the alphabet and then they repeat. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It always repeats, only from A to G. So, that being said, how do we determine, I don't know, say keys with flats in them? Well, when it comes to flats, you normally go a fourth back, which is another interval, like I stated before, within the unison, the first, the second, the third, and the fourth, etc. That's also another interval. But when determining flats, you go to either the previous flat or a fourth below, whatever note you're ending on. So, say we have two flats. Battle and the acronym for the flats are battle ends and down goes Charles' father. It's exactly the opposite of sharps, because then with sharps, this was the F that we left on. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father for flats, and Father Charles goes down and ends battle. It literally works hand in hand. This is how musicians kind of get the hang of reading music and determine how it's going to sound when it's time to play their part. So within flats, you're going to go a fourth below your note, whatever you're on. So battle ends. We have two flats. But not like sharps, we can't just go a half step up and determine what key we're going to go in. You have to go a fourth back. B to E is a fourth. So now you have to know that E going backwards to B is a fourth. So, that being said, you have two flats, B and E. Now you want to know what key you are in. Go to the previous flat, because we know that they're in fourths. So therefore, two flats means that you are in B flat major. But what if I had three flats? Battle ends end. Now I have three flats. I have to go to my previous flat. So if I have battle ends and, that means I have B flat, E flat, and A flat. But we're not going to be in the key of A flat. This is just a flat that we have. So from A flat, we go a fourth down, which takes us to E flat. So that means now we are in the key of E flat major. I hope this helps. When it comes to determining scales and whatever key you are in music, just remember that with sharps, you go up a half step from your most recent sharp, and with flats, you go back a fourth to your previous flat, or just a fourth down from the note that you are on. Thank you for watching, class.